Today, we dive deep into one of the most influential self-development books for men who constantly feel the pressure to please others, avoid conflict, maintain a perfect image, and suppress their true selves. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover is not a book about becoming rude, arrogant, or insensitive. Instead, it is a guide to becoming whole, powerful, honest, and emotionally free. This script explores the psychology behind the nice guy syndrome, how it forms, how it shows up in relationships, careers, friendships, intimacy, and personal identity, and how men can break free from the fear-driven patterns that hold them back. The mindset of a nice guy is rooted in one fundamental belief, that in order to be loved, accepted, and safe, one must always be good, agreeable, polite, helpful, and never create tension. In childhood, many men unconsciously absorb the idea that being themselves, expressing anger, desire, opinions, or boundaries is unsafe. Perhaps they grew up in homes where emotions weren't welcomed. Maybe they had demanding parents, unpredictable caregivers, emotionally unavailable fathers, or overwhelmed mothers. Maybe they witnessed conflict that made them retreat inside, or they learned that approval came only when they were quiet, obedient, and accommodating. Slowly, they began to build a persona that Dr. Glover calls the nice guy mask. This mask is a survival strategy formed by a child who believes he must earn love by being perfect and problem-free. As adults, nice guys often appear charming, gentle, polite, supportive, and non-threatening. They pride themselves on being the good guy, the reliable one, the one who never causes drama. But underneath that pleasant exterior lies resentment, frustration, anxiety, and a deep fear of abandonment. They suppress their true needs because they have learned to associate needs with burden. They avoid confrontation because they fear rejection. They overgive because they expect love in return. They hide their flaws because they feel unworthy. They pretend everything is fine while slowly suffocating under the weight of unexpressed emotions. And eventually, this strategy fails. The more a nice guy tries to please people, the more he ends up feeling unseen, misunderstood, and unappreciated. Dr. Glover explains that nice guys operate from what he calls covert contracts. These are unspoken agreements they believe others should automatically understand. The first covert contract is, if I am good, people will like me and love me. The second is, if I meet other people's needs without them asking, they will meet mine without me asking. The third is, if I avoid conflict, everything will be smooth, peaceful, and problem-free. But the world doesn't operate on unspoken expectations. People don't reward silent sacrifices. Nobody can read minds. And when nice guys feel that their covert contracts are not honored, they become resentful, passive-aggressive, distant, or emotionally explosive. They believe they are doing everything right, yet life doesn't reward them the way they think it should. This book challenges the central belief that being a nice guy leads to a better life. In fact, it reveals that nice guys are often dishonest, manipulative, and disconnected from their authentic selves. Their niceness is not pure kindness. It is a strategy to obtain validation, affection, and control without facing vulnerability. The nice guy is not genuinely giving, he is trading approval for love, trading compliance for peace, trading emotional suppression for acceptance. And these trades always fail. The nice guy's journey toward healing begins when he stops trying to be nice and begins to be real. Imagine a man who never says what he really thinks because he fears disagreement. Imagine a man who smiles when he is angry, a man who apologizes for things that are not his fault, a man who says everything's fine when he is internally falling apart, a man who stays in relationships longer than he should, a man who keeps quiet when he should speak up, a man who avoids setting boundaries because he wants to be liked, a man who becomes the emotional caretaker of everyone while having no one to care for him. This man does not realize that niceness is not kindness. It is avoidance, and avoidance always leads to pain. The greatest tragedy of the nice guy syndrome is that nice guys believe they are doing the right thing while destroying their sense of identity. They suppress desires, dreams, and emotions. They fear their own masculinity. They hide their sexual needs. They prioritize others so much that they lose themselves. And the world around them rarely rewards this self-erasure. Instead, people take advantage of their silence. Partners lose respect for their lack of boundaries. Colleagues exploit their willingness to take on extra work. Friends expect endless favors. Society sees them as invisible. The more they give, the less they receive. Dr. Glover emphasizes that the transformation begins when a man stops seeking external approval and starts building internal strength. Instead of asking, "What do others want from me?" a man learns to ask, "What do I want?" Instead of hiding flaws, a man learns to be honest about his struggles. Instead of avoiding conflict, he learns to express boundaries. Instead of suppressing desires, he learns to communicate them. Instead of living reactively, he learns to live deliberately. One of the core ideas of the book is embracing healthy masculinity. Many nice guys reject their masculine energy because they associate masculinity with aggression, dominance, selfishness, or harm. But masculinity, when healthy, is about strength, clarity, purpose, integrity, courage, and emotional honesty. Nice guys often develop a feminized identity, not in the sense of gender, but in the sense that they over-adapt to others' emotions while abandoning their own. They become soft in areas where they need strength and hard in areas where they should be vulnerable. Healing requires integrating healthy masculine and healthy feminine traits, strength with empathy, assertiveness with warmth, boundaries with compassion. Essential moment in the nice guy recovery journey is learning to embrace imperfection. Nice guys hide mistakes because they think flaws make them unlovable. They avoid risks because they fear failure. They expect themselves to be endlessly patient, endlessly kind, endlessly giving. This unrealistic self-expectation crushes their spirit. Instead, Dr. Glover encourages men to show their humanity, admit mistakes, take risks, express desires, feel emotions fully, ask for help, be imperfect, be authentic. Authenticity becomes the greatest freedom for a recovering nice guy. It allows him to build relationships based on truth rather than performance. It allows him to develop intimacy that is rooted in honesty rather than silent resentment. It allows him to grow courage instead of remaining stuck in fear. And it allows him to live according to his values instead of constantly adjusting to please others. Another major element of the book is understanding boundaries. Nice guys struggle with boundaries because they fear that saying no will lead to conflict, rejection, or abandonment. But boundaries are not walls. They are clarity. They are communication. They are self-respect. A man with healthy boundaries does not wait for others to guess what he needs. He expresses it. He does not allow himself to be manipulated. He does not give beyond his capacity. He does not tolerate disrespect. He understands that saying no is an act of honesty, not hostility. And when a man begins to set boundaries, he is often surprised by how people respect him more, not less. Dr. Glover also reveals the connection between nice guy syndrome and hidden anger. Nice guys pride themselves on being calm, polite, and peaceful, but underneath, they often carry years of unspoken frustration. This suppressed anger leaks out through sarcasm, silent treatment, sudden emotional explosions, passive-aggressive comments, or withdrawal. Healing requires acknowledging anger, not as something shameful, but as a natural emotion that indicates unmet needs or violated boundaries. Healthy men feel anger fully and channel it constructively. One of the most important chapters in the book explores relationships and attraction. Nice guys often struggle romantically because they believe that being overly nice, overly accommodating, and overly available will make them more desirable. But in reality, this creates the opposite effect. Partners may initially appreciate the gentleness, but over time, they begin to sense a lack of assertiveness, leadership, confidence, and emotional honesty. Nice guys are afraid to express sexual desire because they fear appearing inappropriate or rude. This makes them come across as timid or sexually passive. They avoid expressing opinions because they want to keep the peace. This makes them appear indecisive. They over-prioritize their partner's needs excessively. This creates imbalance. They suppress jealousy or discomfort. This creates emotional disconnection. Over time, partners may lose attraction because relationships thrive on polarity, honesty, boundaries, and mutual respect, not on silent compliance. Dr. Glover explains that women do not want perfect, predictable, always agreeable men. They want real men who have opinions, men who have passion, men who can express desire, men who can lead when needed, men who can create, not